it's me, Manny, and I just want to say welcome to Mannyfest. And today, first things first, I just want to say we just hit 100 subscribers, and I just want to say to everyone that has supported this channel and the videos, I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate everyone. I wish I knew much more higher level words to explain how much I really appreciate everyone. And all I can say from the bottom of my heart is thank you guys, and we're going to try to make things bigger. And for the people who watch my box opening, everyone will kind of has an idea of what's coming next. There's going to be a podcast series that's going to be starting soon. In the next maybe month or so. I'm still working out some details. And with that said, I just want to say thank you guys to the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate it. But let's get to the meat and potatoes. So this right here is my first place a Zephyr list from our locals. We did 5 rounds. I went undefeated. All I can say about this list is that it is very consistent. The mindset I have for this is a very control style deck, and it performed better than I could imagine. The only thing I wish I was able to test more was the Zoro matchup during it. I still need to test that out a bit more. But with that said, let's get into the list. So first things first, it's the boy, the myth, the legend, Zephyr. So his effect is to eat 4 Dawn, and then he could pop when attacking, pop a 3 or less, and then gain 1,000. So, obviously eating 4 is a lot of Dawn, but when you get to the point of the game where you drop your 10-drop Kuzan, you start controlling the board very fast, very efficient. Alright, so let's go to the next part. We play 4 of the 2s row. She's mostly a 2K counter, but there are some situations after the Kuzan is established where, like, you're trying to kill, like, an Odin. Oh, and not an Odin, but, like, a 9-drop, like, a big, either, like, the big white beard, or if you're going in the mirror, the other big Kuzan. You could literally go, the Kuzan's on board, play this, establish it, swing, use the effect, kill the 9-drop, or even you can kill big Kaido, the 10-drop Kaido, with this also in your purple matchup. Like, there's just a lot of things you could do in with this card, but it being a 2K for all the other defensive situations is what gets you there. We do play 16 2K counters, so just keep that in mind. All right, next we play 4 Garp. He is, so when I'm getting rid of my 2Ks, he's the last one I want to actually discard, because he becomes very strong late game when you, because this list is very reliant on these Kuzans. Very reliant on these Kuzans. So with him, once the Kuzans are established, you give him 2 Dawn, when attacking, he can kill a 0 or less. So then he becomes a 5K swing who kills, when Kuzan's on board, a 5 or less. So this man is always a 2-for-1 special every single time. But like I said, you do use him a lot as a 2K counter, but he's the 2K counter that I use last. Because I do want to see if I can get him established. And what I try to do is I try to establish him the turn before I play Kuzan, because when you pay your 10 for Kuzan, you can't use him, but then the turn after, he's live. Now we go 4 copies of Sengoku. He's literally a 2K counter. I have never used that effect, but I wanted a 2K counter, more 2K counters, so he's in the list. And maybe there'll be a situation where his effect matters. As of right now, I've never used his effect, let alone summoned it. Then we got 4 of the I can never pronounce this name, but the 3-drop blocker for purple. Some people, I don't know why people play Corazon. I don't get it. This is just a better blocker because it has an extra 1,000 on the off chance that you want to attack with this. But with that said, it's just a blocker. There's nothing too like elaborate to talk about this. But it's great. It's the best blocker in the colors that we have. All right, the next one we have is 4 of the Helmepo. Sorry about that. 4 of the Helmepo. So this card was actually brought to my attention thanks to Nick, who's one of the Small Hat Pirates, who's their channel works with mine sometimes, and they're great guys. I value their opinion. They're actually the ones that were in my tier list video. And Nick, me and him were playtesting, and he's playtesting Smoker, and I saw this card. I'm like, this card is actually wild. And I realized this card actually helps fix a problem with this list and this deck, where it's that the deck is very much a defensive style deck until you get to late game. But what this does is that because so his effect is when attacking, -2. I mean, not -2. When attacking, well, yes. When attacking, target a character. Minus his cost by 2. If there's a 0 cost character on the board, he gains 2,000. So he becomes a 5k. So the thing that happens at that point is that he then becomes a 5k with no investment of Dawn. For whatever you need it to be. Also, he has a 1k counter, and on top of that, he has his trigger. And this trigger is what makes him very valuable because sometimes you're playing these other bodies on curve or on uneven numbers, and then that's where things kind of sideways. But because you have this middle ground guy for like your early to mid game, and he can also cheat himself out because if you get him off life and then he swings on the next turn, he's a very strong card. He helps with your red matchups, or he helps with anything that taps early, because he just lets you play something. I have no regrets with this card. This card actually came in clutch in my 5 rounds, where my opponent goes, summon Mononosuke, swing, tap Mononosuke, and then swing with leader. Trigger this came out. So I, for free, I had a 5k attacker on my turn, and then I just swung because I could. There was nothing stopping me, and it was great. I killed the Mononosuke, and then took his life, and then swung for life, and it was just very clean. It was a very clean, efficient play. Next, after that, we got 4 of the Sasaki. He's just another 2k. But the reason we play him is because there is the off chance that this deck is meant to go second. We built it to opt to go second. When you roll your dice, you win your dice, you go second. Because you want to guarantee 10. Now with this, it's that let's say your opponent wants to go second, like your green matchup. They want to go second. They will go, you can go first. This helps us ramp to get to 10 first. So then we could drop Kuzan on curve and then deal with the board still. And then they only have, and then they're on 8 Dawn when we get to 10. And then from there, we kind of control the board. So this helps you ramp. And you only have to ramp once. Because then throughout your first 4 to 5 turns, you only got to ramp once. But besides that, he's a 2k counter. It's a great card. Next, it's Kuzan. The 4-drop Kuzan. On play, draw a card. When attacking, pick a character minus his cost by 4. This card is crazy. The amount of times where I just go, play this, draw a card, swing with this effect. The 4 that I use for this, eat with this. to then, plus off advantage. It's crazy. It's crazy how efficient and how powerful this card is. This card is... a lot of people believe that this is the best black card. I argue it's this. But not to take away from the power that is the next card, Borsalino. This card's crazy. He's a blocker, and during the opponent's turn, he gains 1,000, and he cannot be KO'd by card effect, which is very strong. That means they can't jet pistol him, they can't rest pop him or anything like that. Well, they can rest him, but I meant it as they rest and pop him, with an X-Drake. But they can rest him, which is where blue and green kind of have ways to deal with him, but red and black do not have a way of dealing with him besides just attacking into him. But there is a small thing that you need to realize. When you go swinging during your turn, and your opponent hits a jet pistol off trigger, they can kill him with that jet pistol, because it's not their turn, it's your turn where the jet pistol triggered. So he's now not protected by his own effect. But he's still a very strong card. And then the same premise where you go pay 4, use Zephyr to swing, eat the 4 that you paid for this, whatever. But like I said, you don't want to do this until Kuzan is established. You want to get to 10 as fast as you can. Well, as fast and as efficiently as you can, because you don't want to do this 3 times. You're not going to benefit doing that. You're going to lose so many cards. You just got to ramp once if you go first. That's why we opt to go second, so we're always on 10. And we also get an extra card, which helps us get to Kuzan a little bit faster. All right, the next card we got is Hina. So Hina is very strong. She's a 5-drop 6K blocker that on block, you pick a 6 or less character, and that character cannot attack that turn. So what makes the card very strong is that especially when they have a big board and you have this, something is not attacking, and you already stopped 2 attacks now because she could block 1 and whatever. And because she's naturally 6 against your red matchup, they can't Otama Vespa or Otama Seaquake or stuff like that. Granted, they can still jet pistol, but that's everything. They can jet pistol everything, But the fact that she's a natural 6K means that they have to go double Otama with a Vespa, or double Otama with a Seaquake, or double Otama with Robin, stuff like that. This is what makes her a bit meatier, because there are some lists that play the Uta, because she's a 4-drop, but because Uta still falls under the pressure of Otama Vespa, this is why I like this card better. Now to our next blocker, because along with our 16 2Ks counters, we have 16 blockers. And our next one is the Queen. Now, the cool thing about the Queen is that if you're going first, your opponent makes you go first, this card is very strong. Because what happens is that even if you... And this is in the scenario where you didn't get to ramp. If you didn't get to ramp, this is strong because you're going to end up on 9. No matter what you do, you're still going to end up on 9. So this is going to put you to 8. And then your turn, the turn that you would turn 10 Dawn, you're still going to turn 10 Dawn because you generate the 2. So as long as you do this once on a turn, or in a game that you couldn't ramp, you're still going to hit 10 on the same turn. So doing this is still very strong. And then after you drop the Kuzan, this is still strong because you're building up your hand, and then still using Z to proceed with your game state and all that. So that's for that. Now, the biggest boys. We got 2 King. So what the King does is that after you establish the Kuzan and you do the Z and you do the Zephyr, right? You're going to be at 6 Dawn. Next turn, go to 8. When you're at the 8 Dawn point of the game, you could play this, and because everything is -5, and he kills a 3 and a 2, you're killing 2 more things that cost 8 to 7 costs less. And then because you're only eating 2 Dawn instead of the 4 Dawn, you're saving yourself more pressure. And then you still have 1 Dawn to give to something, you know? And then if you really want to, you could still kill something else with this. So even on that turn, you're killing 3 more things. And that's why, but I only play 2 because, as you see, there's a lot of counter in this deck. And I want to be able to always defend as much as possible. Fortunately, this card, even though it doesn't have counter, it lets me draw, which odds are will give me a counter. So this one's alright. And then and then this is the only card that doesn't have counter, but it's still very strong. And also, if you don't get to your Kuzan, this is your backup play to try to deal with things. And then also, you can kill things like this. You can go like, play this. You can go play this. Target something that costs 5. Play this. Kill the 5. Kill a 2. And then, you know, and then like that's where you get some value here to make him hit bigger things if you don't have the Kuzan established. Now, we went through this whole video. Now we talk about the Kuzan. So we play 4 Kuzan. He's the heart and soul of the deck. You want to get to 10, establish him. His effect is during my turn. All my opponent's characters lose 5 cost, and on play, I KO 1 thing with 0 cost. Obviously, that means he's killing anything that's 5 or less. And then because when he's established, I can swing with this. Because even though I have no untapped Dawn, he eats Dawn. Well, he puts Dawn back into the Dawn deck, putting 4 of them back, kills something else, and then he's 6k to either kill something else on top of that, or to go for life. So, and then this card just helps this card become stronger, helps this card become strong, and it just becomes this very, and then makes this 5k all the time. This just makes this whole concept work. You have to have a very defensive playstyle when playing this, and then I'll go into some more details of things later, but that's kind of the concept you want to have. Our only events are we play 2 Impact Wave. It's a 2 cost 4k counter that says kill an active character that's 3 or less, and then the trigger is just kill a 4 cost or less. This is a very good card. It helps a lot in the Zoro matchup. It also helps against like blue, where they have their 3 cost, 1 cost blockers. This helps get rid of blockers to help you proceed with your game state. That's what this card is mostly for. Or if you're playing against Zoro, it helps kill the 1 costs that haven't swung yet. Now this is my tech for this. Not a lot of lists play it. I think it's amazing, and it has pulled me out of games and secured games for me. It is 2 Thunder Bagua. Now, if it wasn't for Zoro, I would play 4 of this card. If it wasn't for Zoro. Zoro forces me to play this. But I cannot ignore how strong this card is. 2 things. One, it's first it's a 2 cost 4k counter. If I have 2 or less life, generate a Dawn. I have 4 life with this leader. So with that said, getting the 2 is not that hard. And then the trigger is add a Dawn to here. Because I'm eating up so much Dawn already, just because I eat up so much Dawn with these cards, they being able to generate even a little bit back helps a lot. Also, let's say my opponent makes me go first. This is why I really love this card. Let's say my opponent goes first, and this is my only ramp. I'll hang on to this card. I'll hang on to this card until it's my turn 7, right? And I leave 2 Dawn active. My opponent is under the impression that my next turn I'm going to be on 9, and I still can't play Kuzan, right? So he goes swing, swing. Even if it's a 5k attack or a 6k attack, I will do this, block it, generate the Dawn. Now he made a board, or he put himself in a position that allows me that he wasn't planning for me to drop Kuzan and do everything this turn. But now I set it up that way, and his board wasn't prepared for it. And also the player wasn't prepared for it. So that's why I like this card a lot. Like I said, if it wasn't for Zoro, I would play 4 of this card. But unfortunately, I need to play the 2 Impact Wave for the Zoro matchup. But that's pretty much it. That's the whole list. All I can say is that like I really loved how this deck performed. I don't have any issues one way or the other with it. I spent a lot of time, and even though I didn't make a lot of videos of different deck styles of this, I went through a lot of changes and upgrades, downgrades, different cards, bad cards, cards I thought were good. But this, I feel, is the best that to my play style that I can make it. It goes to show, you know, it went undefeated 5 rounds. I'm very confident because we decided to split prize, but like I'm very confident that even if we would have played it out, I would have still got first. I still would have got first, but even then, like I know I could have got another like 3-4 rounds with this. And with that said, I just want to say thank you guys. You know, please like, subscribe. It's all helping out. And you know, we've hit 1 milestone. We just got to hit another milestone. And the more milestones we hit, the better production I can give and all that. But I will say that I can't be happier. And I just want to say thank you guys a lot. I really mean it. And keep your eyes out for the next video. And I just want to say from here to there, have a great one. See you guys next time. Goodbye.